Hi, everyone, and good evening. I am so happy to be here today to talk about a great topic. And that topic is about Biden's immigration plan and what should we expect to happen with immigration starting next year. January 20th would be the first day of the new administration. I am streaming live today on multiple places. So I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So thank you for everyone that's joining me wherever you are. And I'm going to just do a little overview of what to expect, what of a Biden administration in terms of immigration. And then I'm going to open it up for questions. If anyone has any, I am more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So, what should we expect from the Biden administration? So, what we're going to talk about today is really what we think is going to happen and what Biden has already conveyed in his platform during his campaign. Okay, so Biden already said that he's going to do some things. There are things that he already said that he's going to do immediately within the first 100 days. And there are some bigger things that he wants to do with immigration that is going to be a little harder for him, because in order to change any laws or any formal regulations, you have to go through Congress and then through the Senate. So it's not as easy as you guys would think to change a law, especially if it's an immigration law. Okay, so thanks for everyone that's joining. Just quickly, if you just joined right now, I'm doing a little overview of what to expect in the new Biden administration with everything that has to do with immigration. Okay, so let's talk about the things he already said he's going to do in the first 100 days. And, this is what he said. Hopefully it will actually happen. So the first thing, he said he would do was to reverse the public charge rule. And to those of you that follow me a little bit, you've probably heard me talking about the public charge rule, which was implemented during the Trump administration. Now, it was always there. There was always a public charge inadmissibility factor. So it was always a requirement that you show as an immigrant that your petitioner can sponsor you, right? That you won't be a public charge in the US. But what is new, and it started just last year, February of last year, is that the Trump administration, the Department of Homeland Security under Trump issued a new requirement for proving that you will not be a public charge if you get a green card here in the US. They added what's called the Declaration of Self-Sufficiency, the dreaded I-944 form that, immigration attorneys just hear that name and they're just like, oh no, the form. It's a 20-page form. It's really long. They want to know everything about you and all your financial abilities, every debt that you have, every dollar that you owe, your credit score, your credit history, your assets, everything. They want to know everything about you. And this was the new public charge policy that was issued. So Biden already said that he's going to reverse that. Now, this public charge rule has been going back and forth since February. It's been on and off because different organizations keep taking it to court, saying that it's unconstitutional, that the burden is too much on immigrants. So, it's just one of the things that the Biden administration is going to do to reduce the scrutiny of the public charge rule. So the new form, the new requirements. Okay, so this would definitely make it easier for immigrants to receive green cards. Okay, it will just lessen the burden. Okay, so going on to the next promise or the next thing that we think is going to happen under the Biden administration. And if you're joining me today, thank you so much for joining. I'm just talking a little bit about what should we expect under the Biden administration in terms of immigration. And this is not a political discussion. I'm not here to say, anything political, just what the Biden campaign said that they're going to do with immigration. Okay, and for people that are interested in this, it's really informative and it's good to know. So another thing that was promised was that the Biden administration within the next 100 days, of the first 100 days, will reinstate the DACA program. Okay. So the Trump administration, one of the first things they tried to do is to shut and close DACA. So DACA, for those of you that don't know, is a program that was, it's geared to young people, to individuals that came into the US as children, okay, with their parents. And these individuals are, go through background check, and they have to either be in school or be completed with school or be in a military be in the military, and they are granted, or they were granted a work permit and deferred action. So they were not, they're protected from deportation. And this is a huge benefit for people, for a lot of people. And what the Trump administration did in 2017 was they stopped the program and they said there's no new DACAs. So we're not issuing any more DACAs. And they tried to cancel it completely, but it went to court. And what the court said, the federal court said, is that you can't cancel it, but we're allowing right now not to give new DACAs. Okay, and it went back and forth. There was a lot of litigation in the last 4 years about this. Eventually, the court in the last decision said that the Trump administration shouldn't have canceled DACA the way they did. And they should reinstate the DACA program because the cancellation of it was illegal. So the court didn't talk about like if DACA is legal or not. They just said the way that they canceled it was illegal. So immigration was supposed to reinstate DACA this summer, but they didn't. And because they didn't comply with the court order. So what we're expecting is that the DACA program will be reinstated. So people that have never applied for DACA before will be able to apply for DACA if they qualify, and they would get DACA for 2 years. And people that need to renew DACA will be able to renew for 2 years and not just for 1 year like it is right now. Okay, so that's great news to all the dreamers. That's about DACA. And if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments. I'm just checking over in TikTok. Tali's saying, interesting discussion. Thank you so much. I'm glad that this is interesting. We're expecting a lot of changes coming to January, so it's good to know, and it's good to prepare. Clients have been calling me, wanting to start, their DACA case. And what I've been saying to people is you don't need to pay anyone to start your DACA case right now until DACA is officially reinstated. So once it's officially reinstated, that's when you should hire someone to help you with your DACA case. But what you can do is you can start collecting documents, to prove that you're DACA eligible. That you can definitely do. Okay, let's see. There is a question here on TikTok. Any hopes for reversing the H-1B specialty regulations? Yes. So one of the things that hopefully will change, and that Biden did say this in their platform for their campaign, is to reduce the burden on work visas, H-1B visas, for example. Right now, there's a proposed regulation to make the H-1B even more challenging and more difficult than it already is. And the whole approach to this administration was hire Americans. Do everything you can to not hire people from abroad or people that are not Americans. And this will change under the Biden administration, because that's not one of the principles that the Biden administration believes in. Okay, so we are hoping to see reduce, that the proposed regulations for the H-1B will vanish and will not be implemented in January. We're very hopeful for that. Okay, and with DACA, DACA was implemented in 2012 under the Obama and Biden administration. So we know for sure that Biden is a proponent of the DACA program. So we're very, very hopeful about that. Okay, so just moving forward a little bit, just going to touch on a few more things that we are thinking is going to happen. Rescind the Muslim ban. The Muslim ban was a restriction on travel into the US, on issuances of visas for individuals in certain countries that are majority Muslim countries. And this was one of the first things that the Trump administration did in 2017 when they took office. So the Biden administration said that they will reverse that, almost immediately, because there's no, need to do an overall complete ban. More of checking on a case-to-case basis if there's a need to not let anyone in, and not a specific, full ban. The Biden administration looks at immigration differently. They see immigrants as essential to the prosperity of this country, and the whole approach is different. So rescinding the Muslim ban is just one of those things that, it comes from their approach to immigration. Okay, so there's a question here on Facebook about if reinstating DACA includes DAPA. So the DAPA program is for parents, for the parents of the DACA kids, and they don't say that specifically in the campaign. That's a little harder to do, but we're hopeful, because it was proposed in 2012 when in the Obama and Biden administration, they really tried to do that too. So hopefully that will go through. We don't know yet though. Okay. One of the next things that the Biden campaign said that they are going to strive to do is to do a humanitarian reform to create a fair and humane system, which right now, unfortunately, is lacking. The separation of parents and children at the border, the restriction on asylum, and the harsh regulations that were put on the asylum process. The fact that there's no priorities in detention of people here in the US. All of this created an immigration atmosphere that is not a fair one and not a humane one, like has been here in the US. So what Biden is saying is that they're going to stop the separation of parents and children at the border immediately. They are going to reevaluate the changes that the Trump administration put on asylum. Right now, it's almost impossible to get asylum. It's very, very hard. Okay, so that's one of the things that the Biden administration said that they're going to do. Now, this is going to be hopefully, across the border of immigration, different kinds of aspects of immigration, but hopefully we'll see things implemented right away. Just checking to see if there's any questions. Okay, there's some specific questions on TikTok, so hold on. I will get to them once I finish just my overview of a couple more points, and then and I'll get to these questions on TikTok. So finally, one of the next points that the Biden administration said that they would do, sorry, the Biden campaign, they're not in the administration yet, but what they promised to do is improve the naturalization process. So one of the things that is happening in practice is that it's really hard to become a US citizen, and there seems like there are more and more restrictions on naturalizations just to deter people from filing for naturalization and to make it harder. For example, they proposed to increase the fee for naturalization by 80%, the filing fee, which deterred a lot of people and only allowed people that have money to apply to become a citizen, which that's contrary to what the US is, right? It's not a place for just wealthy people. It's a place for all people and all immigrants, and not only immigrants that can pay to get their citizenship. So that's one of the things that Biden administration would do. Also streamline the process, make it more effective, increase personnel, increase production of the citizenship. Right now, it's very backlogged. Takes a long time. So they're looking into working that. And also, you've all heard, I've been talking about it, they want to make the citizenship test harder. So it's just been one thing after another in the last 4 years. So we're hoping to actually see this happen to improve the naturalization process. Okay. And finally, the last topic that I wanted to discuss is a general immigration reform. And all of the items that I discussed before are things that a new administration can do pretty quickly. You can cancel travel bans because those were executive orders. Exactly like the Trump administration put on an executive order, you can rescind an executive order. You don't need Congress, you don't need the Senate to approve it. You can do those pretty quickly. So any ban or any suspension on immigration or any new, all these policies, those can be reversed pretty quickly. But an immigration reform is something it's harder to do. And many administrations tried to do, including the Biden and Obama administration tried to do that. So hopefully this will happen, but you need, bipartisan cooperation to do this. I mean, Biden has been known to be bipartisan and reach out to the other side. So it is possible, and we're hopeful, but just to reform the immigration system in the US, because it is well overdue, to give the 11 million people here that are undocumented, to give them status, and to increase the visa quotas, to increase the availability for visas, to decrease the wait time for certain categories. All these things would just make the immigration process more efficient. Okay, so let's go. So those are the points that I wanted to talk today to discuss a little bit about. And, really, we're hopeful to see a more smoother and a more fair immigration process here in the US. But who knows, we don't know what to expect. We can only talk about what we think is going to happen. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to jump into some questions. But before that, if you would like to talk to me specifically about your case, you want to, to schedule a consultation, a one-on-one conversation about your specific case, feel free to reach out. Our contact information is here. It's 714-794-9366. Our website is brudnerlaw.com, and you can find more information in the link in my bio. You can reach out through Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever you prefer. I'm there. And I'd love to hear from you. Let's see some questions. Okay, so there's a question here. What if I had a DUI in 2019? Am I eligible for citizenship? Well, a DUI doesn't necessarily prevent you from applying for citizenship. However, if it was a recent one in 2019, I would not necessarily hurry to file for citizenship right away. I would consult with an immigration attorney to evaluate your conviction record and see if it's a good time. Usually, the more conservative approach would be to wait 5 years after you're no longer in probation, okay, after you finish probation. Okay. And the reason is that in order to qualify for citizenship, you have to show that you are a person of good moral character. And any arrest or any conviction, especially in the last 5 years, is something that could trigger, in the eyes of the officer that good moral character is lacking. So that's why the more conservative approach is just to wait. Okay. There's a question here. When will they start conducting interviews overseas again? My fiance has been waiting because of COVID-19. It's been so frustrating, and I'm sorry that you guys have been waiting for a long time. I'm sure you can't wait for your fiance to be able to join you here in the US. The reason why they're not conducting interviews is because many consulates and embassies abroad are not open. They have not resumed the issuance of visas completely 100%. They should be issuing fiance visas, even if there's even if you're from a COVID restricted country. So even if you're a country that there is a restriction right now due to COVID, they should be issuing visas if the post is open. So it depends on where you are, what country, where your fiance is, what country they are. If the consulate or the post embassy is open, then they should be issuing visa. And it's a good idea to email the post and ask about that. Okay, I'm just scrolling to see if there's any questions. Okay, Noni's asking, my husband's interview is not coming yet. What do we do? So there's been a backlog with interviews, both here in the US and also abroad, obviously, because the consulates are not 100% open right now. So, and the backlog is caused for the most part due to COVID-19. USCIS was closed for almost 3 months. So a lot of people, their interviews were canceled, they were scheduled. So there is a backlog. So definitely, if you're waiting for your interview, just keep checking on USCIS. You can try to call them if it's been a long time. But usually just right now, there's just a long wait. Okay. So Maha's asking, hi Maha, how are you? Good to see you here again. If you send all your paperwork to USCIS, including the fee waiver, do they waive the fee? So it's hard to get a fee waiver. They won't necessarily waive the fee unless you can demonstrate that you qualify for the fee waiver. If they don't waive the fee, then they will return your packet and you would have to submit it with the filing fee. Okay. For those of you joining right now, if you have any questions, I'm Immigration Attorney Yael Brudner. Today I talked a little bit about what to expect during the Biden administration when it comes to immigration, and just going off of what they said that they're going to do during their campaign. So hopefully they will do some of the things that they said, because a lot of the things that they promised are very good for immigration. Okay, so let's see what else. Section, Pindy's asking, do you have any experience in Section 13, diplomats unable to return home? You'd have to contact us specifically, okay, for us to evaluate that. It's a very specific issue. But if you do call and, schedule a consultation, we'd love to help you. Okay, there's a question here from Shara. Sorry if I'm not saying your name correctly, but I'm 20 and I'm from Belgium. I would like to come and live in the States. What kind of visa should I apply for? Okay, well, that's a great question. In order to come to the US and to live here and to work here, you do need a visa, and you need a visa that will allow you to work. So for me, my favorite visa is the E2 visa. It's an E2 investor visa. And it really allows for people to come to the US and live and work here almost without, you can renew it indefinitely. And you get it by investing in a company in the US, either a new company or an existing company. So it's something that you don't need anyone to petition you. You don't need any sponsor. You just need to be able to invest a substantial amount of capital in a business. So if that's something that's interested, definitely reach out to us and we can evaluate if that is a good fit for you. Other things, that could work to come in initially as a student on an F1 student visa, and then, do a program here and then apply for work permit after you finish the program. You can apply for an OPT, which is another year of employment. If you study specific subjects, you might be able to get another couple of years to work here in the US. After you worked here, you might be able to apply for an H-1B visa if someone would sponsor you. So there are options. So definitely reach out. This is more of a kind of a one-on-one discussion to see what you would qualify for and what would be a good fit for you. So if you would like to contact us and schedule a consultation, I would love to talk to you further. Okay, great. Pindy says, I'm going to schedule a consultation. Great. I'd love to hear from you. There's a question. Can an LPR sponsor a spouse from another country? Great question. So LPR is lawful permanent resident, basically a green card holder. And the question is if a green card holder can apply for their spouse. Yeah, a green card holder can apply for two kinds of people. They can apply for their spouse or for their children, unmarried children. Actually, this category of spouse of a lawful permanent resident right now is current, so there's no wait for the visa. And I would absolutely, recommend to start the process and get that going. Okay, so definitely green card holder can apply for their spouse. Okay, let's see. There's a question here on Facebook from Liv. Sorry if I'm not saying your name correctly. I submitted all my medical, flu shots. How long will it take before I receive a letter from immigration? Okay, so have you attended the interview yet? Or are you just submitted all your documents with your adjustment of status and now you're waiting for your interview? Where are you in the process? If you can give me a little bit more information. Okay, let's see. For those of you just joining, I am answering questions. Immigration Attorney Yael Brudner. Muhammad, let me see. You asked a question, but I can't find it. So the questions on TikTok go by really fast, guys. So it's hard to, sometimes I miss the question. So if you can ask again, that would be really good. Sorry. Okay. Just checking to see if there are any questions on Facebook. For those of you joining right now, feel free to ask me any questions. Earlier today, we did talk about what kind of changes we should expect in the new administration. And on TikTok, the video doesn't stay, but if you can jump onto my Facebook, the live will stay on my Facebook page. So you can, if you're interested to see what the changes would be, you can go in and look at and view it again. Leaf is saying not yet, just submitted only. Okay, so it's been taking a while to get interview notices. It really depends where you're at in the U.S. because certain field offices are more busy than the others. But usually I say it takes about 10 to 12 months to get an interview after you file. Okay, right now with all the delay. Okay, let's see. Okay. Let's see. Sakhijit is asking, can I change my address? I just filed my marriage application with my wife. Are there any negative impact? So if you filed an immigration case, then you should definitely change your address if you moved so that you can get all your notices, your interview notices and all that. If the question is about you're no longer living with your wife and would that make a difference in your case, that's a different question. So there's no negative impact if you just move because people move all the time. You just have to keep immigration posted so that you'll get your interview notice and you get all the important notices. And if the question is if you're no longer living with your wife, then that's a different question. Do you take cases from all 50 states or is it limited to your place of practice? That's a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. So the cool thing about immigration is that immigration is federal law. And as a federal field, then lawyers can practice throughout the US. So I'm licensed in California, but I can practice and represent people in immigration cases all over the US. So that's really nice. So doesn't matter where you are, we have clients from all over the US and all over the world, actually, because we help a lot of people come into the US. So yeah, that's the really good thing about practicing immigration law. One of them. Okay, Muhammad saying, I'm an LPR, my wife cases at the embassy in Islamabad. If I apply for citizenship, how will that affect fast or slow? Well, if your case is already at the embassy, that means that you're waiting for an interview. I know the consulate is not scheduling right now, but if you apply for citizenship, it'll take about a year for you to become a citizen. The good thing about being a citizen is that there's no wait for your wife's petition, but your wife, she's very close to getting her visa. If the visa retrogresses, if the priority date goes back, which could happen for spouses of green card holders, then there's a benefit of having, becoming a citizen. So what I would recommend is just go ahead and file for your citizenship. And then if anything happens and the case gets stuck and the priority dates go back or something like that, it'll be quicker for you guys. Okay. Let's see. I'm living with her. I just want to change my apartment number at the same place. Yeah, so then just file to change your address. You can do it online. Just go to uscis.gov, go to tools, and under tools is change my address. Okay. And then you can do it online. Okay, just have your receipt number with you. Okay. TikTok Sat is asking, Satha, how does SR 386 bill that was passed in the Congress and yet to get Senate affect? I don't see the question. I don't have the whole question. Okay. Right now they haven't, the whole ballgame is going to change depending on what's going to happen with the Senate. Okay. We still have the Senate. There's still a couple of Senate seats that are open, so we don't know what's going to happen with the Senate yet. Okay, I did not get my fingerprint yet, ma'am. It's okay. You can still change your address. If you change your address, you're going to get your fingerprint biometrics notice to your new address. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to pop back to Facebook to see if there are any more questions. Okay, guys, I'm going to hop off for today. Thank you for everyone that joined. I'm Immigration Attorney Yael Brudner. If you would like to talk to me specifically about your case, please feel free to reach out and schedule consultation. I'd love to talk to you specifically. If you're interested in hearing about what's going to happen with immigration next year, starting with the new administration, you can hop over to my Facebook page and just replay the video for today, the beginning of it. And that's all for today. And in the meantime, you guys have a great, healthy, and happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe and, be well. And yeah, that's all good. Okay. Have a good evening, and I'll be in touch really soon.